So today's question comes from the record label We Are Triumphant. You guys might remember them as that label that boosted their Facebook likes by stealing other people's work and posting it up on Facebook. Regardless, it's still a pretty good question.
What type of camera do you use for your videos?
The short answer is, I shoot on the Sony A7s, but it's sure taken me some time to settle on that camera. I've owned quite a few cameras since I got my first DSLR back in 2010. The whole idea was to start shooting music videos. The YouTube thing kinda happened by accident. Anyway, I started out with a Canon 60D and did quite a few music videos with that camera. It's not enough. But camera technology is moving very quickly these days. It really reminds me of the home computer revolution back in the early 80s. I was getting pretty tired of my Canon's cream spinach look as it was lacking some serious resolution. So in 2012, I moved up to the GH2. I also really got into anamorphic lenses and started shooting with them in pursuit of a much more cinematic look. Of course, the dynamic range of the GH2 left something to be desired. So when Magic Lantern came out with a RAW hack for Canon cameras, I bought an old 50D, hacked it, and started shooting. Unfortunately, shooting RAW on the 50D was pretty unstable. Just getting the damn thing to record RAW for about 4 seconds or more usually took several tries. And the fact there was no articulating screen as well was a complete pain in the ass. And then Blackmagic came out with the Pocket Cinema camera. Great image, and the Micro Four Thirds mount meant you could put just about any glass on it. The fact that it used a Super 16mm sensor was great as well, as I'm a bit of a vintage lens junkie, and there's tons of classic glass for 16mm movie cameras out there, like this Bolex right here. I wound up shooting a couple music videos with that and got some very nice results. However, the battery life sucks. It only lasts about 15 minutes and the camera needs a ton of light. And when you're shooting RAW, you only get about 9 to 12 minutes of footage onto a 64 gig card. Although it produces a great image, the camera is a total pain in the ass to work with and has literally the worst view screen I have ever seen. So finally, I purchased the Sony A7s in the summer of 2014, and for me anyway, it was a total game changer. The A7s is the king of the low light cameras and has completely revolutionized the way I work. It's got a very efficient codec, so it doesn't fill up memory cards at anywhere near the rate the Blackmagic did. The battery lasts about half an hour, again a big plus. Some people complain about the battery life, but then again they probably never tried to actually do work with a Blackmagic pocket camera. But what's really great is that the A7s has allowed me to speed up my whole process. I don't have to spend hours transcoding RAW footage into something that I can edit. I shot the fans deserve better on the Pocket in RAW, and the post-process took forever. It's all too easy to fix a mediocre performance, but the Sony footage probably has more dynamic range than the stuff coming out of the Blackmagic, with the added bonus of less dicking around after the fact. You can set it up to look great right out of the camera, and it takes minimal grading to get it to look completely awesome. If you like punishing yourself, you can shoot in S-Log mode and mess with LUTs, and you can get some very nice results as well. The cine modes are great too if you're using Film Convert. But lately I've been shooting in the still frame mode called Autumn Leaves, which gives me really great skin tones right out of the box and only takes some minimal contrast adjustments to get it looking good. There's some debate on shooting S-Log and skin tones, but I've got some pretty awesome results using Vision Color's impulse lens. Sometimes, anyway. And by Crom's balls, do not call the audience a bunch of pussies for not moshing! It's also a fantastic stills camera, and it's amazing for shooting the night sky. It's also got the Sony Fe Mount, which allows me to adapt all sorts of old lenses to it. If you ever shot at a Canon FD camera back in the day, you can resurrect your old lenses to work on the Sony, and there is some absolutely gorgeous FD glass out there for reasonable prices. But remember, a camera is only half the equation when it comes to a great looking image. You also need great light. And for that, I use my own home-built KinoFlow type lights, and I'm using them right now. They're wonderfully soft, and they cost several $1,000s less than the commercial ones. I'll show you guys how to make those in an upcoming episode. It's definitely worth checking out. So, as far as I can tell, I'm going to be shooting on the A7s for quite some time to come. It's a very efficient way to work, as it gets the camera out of the way of the process and allows me to concentrate on producing content. I can't recommend it enough.